My name is Lisa Bontemps. I am the program manager for Westwood for All Ages. If you live in Westwood, you've probably heard of us, of Westwood for All Ages. We are an initiative through Meals on Wheels of North Jersey that was funded several years ago by the Henry and Marilyn Taub Foundation to help Westwood to become a more age-friendly community. And what our mission is to encourage people to be active, to embrace aging, we want this to be a place where people can grow up and grow old and age in place comfortably. So we, over the past few years, have done a variety of programs geared towards our older residents to help them with things like transportation, housing, communication, health and well-being. And because of the pandemic, we've been impacted by that as much as anybody else has. So we have to sort of pivot what we've been doing. And part of that pivot since the outbreak happened in March was to do these gatherings on Zoom, which we call our Social Connection Happy Hour. And we do these on a monthly basis. We were lucky we were able to do one outdoors in September, which was lovely. I had a lot of people show up for that. But now we're back to doing it online. And each month we try to do something that will provide a bit of entertainment, some information, happenings that are going on in Westwood, and things that sort of help pass the time a little and make this pandemic a little bit more bearable for all of us. So I have a few people that are going to be saying just a few words about some things going on in Westwood. I will say that even if you're not a Westwood resident, you're welcome to join these happy hours anytime. I did put in the chat feature the link to our next one, which is going to be on December 17th, and I'll just remind you about it later on. You might also get an email letting you know that that's coming up. That's going to be with some entertainment and some games and giveaways and all of that. So it'll be a nice time. I am going to now introduce to you Roseanne Charlante, who is the Assistant Program Manager with Westwood for All Ages. And she's going to talk a little bit about some other things that are happening here in Westwood because she also is on a committee called Celebrate Westwood. Before she takes it away, I would just ask that if you're not muted, if you would kindly mind just making sure, that, unless you're Helen, because Helen, you're going to be presenting soon. And there we go. So if everybody else can mute themselves, then we'll be in good shape. So Roseanne, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. As Lisa said, I wear many hats around town. One of them is with Celebrate Westwood. We are in the process of working with the Chamber of Commerce on a few initiatives to help everyone spend and shop local. So if you're interested in giving out gift cards or shopping local, you can go to celebratewestwood.org and you can see our initiatives under the merch heading. You can also see some information there online. We're also working with the town to do some small moment entertainments over several December weekends. As you all probably know, there is no parade this year, but we're hoping to bring some small entertainment and festive decor downtown so that everyone gets the opportunity to stroll and feel warm and welcome during the holiday season. So we look forward to seeing everyone out and about, socially distanced, masked, not gathering in large groupings in December. Westwood for All Ages will be a part of that. We're going to decorate the senior van as we always do. It'll be park stationary. And then we're also going to invite local children to take away with them images that they can color, and hopefully we'll have those delivered either through Meals on Wheels to their clients or make a display at the Riley Center in town, which is a senior center in town if you're not familiar with it. Also, I work for the Recreation Department part-time, and the Recreation Department is hosting a home holiday decorating contest. So that'll launch on Monday. If you follow the Recreation Department on Facebook, you can submit a picture of your decorated home, and then you can be in the running to win a $50 gift certificate to the Westwood business of your choice. And also a really fun lawn sign that says winner. So we'll have 3 winners this year. It's the first time we've done something like this, and we're really excited, and the recreation board will be judging those. Lisa, I think that's all I have today. I know lots of stuff is happening at the library, so I'm sure
Yes.
you would like to talk.
Yes. So thank you. I'm excited about the house decorating contest. My husband thinks he's Clark Griswold, you know, from the Lampoon, National Lampoon Christmas thing. So he's going to be doing his best to win that prize. So
well, that's definitely what we want to see. We want to, you know, add to the lights and the brightness of the holiday, create some warmth.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay, Martha, would you like to update us on some things happening at the library?
Sure. Well, I'm going to just say one more time about the book, Our Subway Baby, that we just had. That it was just such a beautiful book, and it was somebody from Westwood that wrote the book. I mean, grew up here. Pete Mercurio, his mom is here. Louise is here online today, and it was just a very sweet program about a true story about finding a baby and finding love. And we have the book here at the library. Happy to share it. So if you're interested, I can talk to you more about that. We'll have a story walk outside for the kids. Obviously, the situation we're in doesn't allow us to have the kinds of things that we've had in the past in the library. So all of our things will be outside, but we do, or online. But the one thing we have coming up outside is this Saturday is the last used book sale. And it's from 11 to 3 on Saturday, and there'll be used books, lots of children's books and some holiday specials. And so that should be it's supposed to be a very nice day outside. And then we will have, for children, we'll have a story walk outside for them to participate in. We're going to be doing a wish tree, which is where you can write your wishes for the new year or for just the time of year, just a collective way to gather good feelings and put them on a tree outside with the bells. So we'll have the cards ready to go out, and you can ask for them at the library and pick them up and then write them and then bring them back, and we'll put them up on our tree. And more details will be available on our website. And then we're also planning an ongoing storytelling of local celebrities doing stories online, holiday stories. And so we'll be advertising that as well. And if any of you are interested in being a storyteller, please contact me. And I guess that's pretty much it for right now.
Thank you, Martha. And something that I just want to share too is that Martha and I paired up, our Westwood for All Ages in the library paired up recently to do a 4-week session called Coffee and Conversation right here on Zoom, where we listened to podcasts together with some of our older residents and had some conversations around them. And it was really delightful. I know a couple of the people who participated in that are on the Zoom right now. We're looking to restart that up again in the first of the year, so just keep an eye open for that. Well, I don't want to hold things up too much longer here. I am so excited that today we have a luminary who is known here in not just in New Jersey, but in New York as a fabulous artist in her senior years. And she's going to be the feature presenter today. But I'd like to introduce the owner of Westwood Art Gallery, Mike Fitzsimmons, first, because he is going to be able to give a much nicer introduction to Helen than I can. But I just want to say that I'm personally really thrilled that Helen agreed to do this, because having walked by Mike's gallery in the past and seen her artwork and gone in and talked to him about it, I've been wanting probably for the past couple of years to find a way that Westwood for All Ages could sponsor some sort of gathering like this. Didn't know it was going to be on Zoom. I was hoping to do it in the studio to share Helen's work with our seniors and be inspired by her and her artwork. So Mike, if you would mind unmuting yourself, I'm going to have you take it away and introduce Helen for us.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for making this happen. This is really great for us, and we'll look at the silver lining around this. I want to get into just real quickly some background and then some business. The work you'll see today are almost exclusively copper plate etchings, which are the same technique that Rembrandt used and the same process. So it's not a photo reproduction. We call them prints, but each one is hand-drawn, hand-printed by the artist herself, Helen Frank. One thing that's come up in this holiday season is what a great gift art is to either a child or a grandchild to start someone on a collection. And all the work you'll see today is very affordable. That's why Rembrandt made prints, so that they could be something that you could own. So everything you'll see today is between $175 and $850. But to get back to the idea of starting someone collecting art, you know, it's something that will last a lifetime. The PlayStation 5 from Nintendo probably has a shelf life of 2 years, and it's a ton of money. But these will be things that you can actually hand down to the next generation. But more importantly, you get to see every day. It makes you happy. So that's the value of art. Without further ado, we should get to it, but I want to introduce Helen Frank, who is a great friend and mentor to me. She's my mother from another grandmother. After this virtual meeting, I'm sure you will agree she's an inspiration to all of us. So thank you, Helen, for being here.
And just a reminder, if you have questions for Helen at any time, put them in the chat and we'll save a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, I can hear you, Helen.
Did you hear me say no to my dog? Am I on? Am I on now?
You are.
You're on.
All right, Lisa, I want to start by saying thank you. And Mike, thank you for those beautiful introductions. I hope I won't disappoint. I'm sitting here cleaning my desk as I'm listening to all the wonderful things that are happening in Westwood. And I'm so happy I found your recipe for a chicken marinade that I've been looking for weeks. So it's all good. It's all good. All right, I'm ready. How do we do this? I'm ready to start.
Just go ahead and start. So here's the presentation, Helen. So
Okay, good.
I'll introduce it as Etchings by Helen Frank. And then when you would like me to switch screens, you just let me know. We'll take this one at a time though.
Okay, I should press what, Lee?
Just let me know. Just say next slide.
Okay.
You don't have to press anything. Just say next slide
Very
when you
good.
want me to get to the next.
Well, I'm enjoying seeing these. I haven't seen them for a while. This first one is called St. Petersburg, as you can see. And you're probably wondering why a picture of a woman and a child are called St. Petersburg. Well, the answer is simple. I saw them in St. Petersburg. What I loved about it was that it's got a mystery to it. Is the woman the mother? Is she the grandmother, the auntie, the nanny? Who was she? And is this little child a girl or a boy? It's kind of like whatever you want it to be, because that's how it hit me when I saw this lovely couple. But what really hit me before I saw them was the shadow that they left on the ground. And you can see the abstract shape on the ground as they're walking away. And the close, intimate connection between them is what caught my eye. So I quickly photographed it and then I sketched it afterward to emblaze it in my mind. Next one.
Helen, if I can just interrupt from a gallery perspective, if we go back. My first reaction to this was, wow, what a great image this is. I can sell it all day long. But Helen, I need you to change the title of that, because St. Petersburg, you know, why are we going, you know, why can't it just be grandmother? And Helen gave me an ultimatum. She said, you can show it if you want, but I'm not changing the title. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Framed it, I put it in the window. 30 minutes later, a woman came in and said, how much is that piece? I gave her the price and she said, I'll take it. So we were wrapping it up, and I so much for what I know. So I asked her, I said, if you don't mind me asking, why did you, what did you respond to about this work? And she said, I adopted my daughter from St. Petersburg. And I said, oh, things like that happen all the time with Helen. We call it Helen's karma. There have been at least 2, maybe 3 people who have bought that print for that reason specifically. They adopted their child from St. Petersburg. So I never question anything about what Helen says anymore.
You just listen, Mike, right? This next one looks very large. It's actually about 2 inches wide and 3 inches high, if that. And it's called Grafton Street. You'll wonder why Grafton Street. Well, that's a large street in Dublin. And it was just a moment in the rain where we were all trying to shelter ourselves from the rain. And I looked up and I saw this man walk past me carrying these pink flowers. And I ran after him. I actually stalked him until I could make a quick sketch in my mind. I thought it was such a quintessential statement on bringing flowers to somebody. I loved it. It's a simple statement, but it has a lot of meaning to me. And here comes the glass of Guinness. This was done also in Ireland. We were at a horse show, an amateur horse show of little ponies. And I kept seeing all these men with these hats and these bellies and these glasses of Guinness. And I'm thinking, well, it's really the stereotype. It's like the stereotype has come alive. And I sketched the 3 of them individually, and then I put them together in a composition. I kind of like this one too. I kind of like this one. The men speak to me a little bit. Now, this one needs a little explanation, or maybe not. When my husband passed away a few years ago, I had this mad idea on a lonely night that I should go online and see what all this is about. So I did. And I was just hysterical looking at all these faces and seeing what people wrote and what they wanted. And these old, whiskery old men were wanting women in their 40s, thin, big bosoms, blonde, enjoys motorcycles, et cetera, et cetera. So I just kept at this with the biggest fun and wrote down all of their names. And I love that they gave themselves like Frizzy Daddy and Cool Carl and Butch and let's see, and 10 something and Sam Fun. And then I wrote down their different needs and wants and put it together in this large drawing, which I call Match.com. I love this. Lives within 50 miles of New York. Most of them don't drive anyway. So that's kind of an amusing one for me. Very apt. This little one is kind of a class trip where you see in the city. It was done in Greenwich Village in Washington Square, but it's something that you would see in every city and every town with their little uniforms to keep them together. And I love the way they hold hands like a chain, sticking together and taking care of each other. They have a special little walk about them. This is also a small piece. Small can be precious, multo in parvum. Okay, next one. The Met, again, this has been a very long time love affair with that institution from when I was a kid, thinking that the way you become an artist is to take a little chair and a pad and paper, and you find Greek statues and you draw them. So I've been doing that since I've been 12, which is quite a few decades ago. I have many, many incantations of the Met. This is just one of them. Next one. And here's another one, a much later one, Art Lovers. There's something very romantic about the Met and the steps of the Met, and a place where people meet and families meet. The little group in the lower left are my daughter and son-in-law and my grandchildren, who are often subjects of my work, as you will see. What's a little bit too fast. Um, and people unabashedly kissing and nobody really paying any attention. It's kind of a fun place and an important place. Next one, please. This was also a scene at the Met. I must admit, though, that this was done at the Chicago Art Institute. If you're not aware of it, there are quite a few casts of The Little Dancer by Degas. And when I was there, this 6 or 7-year-old girl was staring and projecting, and you could just see what was going on in her mind. She's, oh, this is a small play too, so it's a little fun one. Next one, please. Another regarding Degas, my granddaughter in the middle and my nieces on either side. A little fun note in this is on the right, it's a takeoff on Mary Cassatt. Degas did a beautiful painting of Mary Cassatt looking at a painting. So I put that into this painting. I love my little private jokes that I put in, but I do like to share them so that you can enjoy the private jokes too. And this is a big one. It's history of art, starting with the cavemen and then going along to the Greeks and the Romans and medieval and the Renaissance. And as you follow it along, the Spanish, and then into American and French. And what I did here was just make it a personal statement of artists that I love and admire. And then in the end, it's not too clear, but in the end, we have Basquiat, who is doing a lot of things that are not dissimilar to the cavemen. So it's kind of a comment on how far we've come or not how far we've come. Okay, next one. And there's a gorgeous Madame X, elegant, elegant lady with people admiring her. She was at the Met for a visit, and of course I was there seeing that. It's a nice way to go into a trance, is to stand in front of a painting and just dream about it a little bit. Next one, please. This painting is called, let me think. Kindred Spirits. And I did this because Kindred Spirits, from my whole childhood and most of my life, was a painting that was hung at the New York Public Library. And whenever I went there, I would just stop and see my painting. And apparently a lot of other people thought it was their painting too. But when Alice Walmart bought it for her fabulous American Museum in Crystal Bridges in Arkansas, she bought the painting and suddenly it was gone. And a lot of people protested. How could the New York Library allow that painting to go? I amongst them. But as you would guess, I did take a trip to Arkansas, to Crystal Bridges. And when I saw it there and I saw the docent and I saw the kids, I more than forgave her for sharing this wonderful piece by a Hudson River painter. So it's got a lot of personal meaning for me. This is a small one too. It's not a miniature. Mike, how big is that? About 8 by 10 or something? 6 by 8?
Yeah, that sounds about right. 6 by 8, 8 by 10. That's right.
So we'll go on to the next, A Kiss on the Beach. I love the story of this one. Back before we were using computers so much, I would have my pictures developed at the local drugstore. And in a box there at the photography station were photographs that people did not pick up. And I'm always interested in seeing what other people shoot and have. So I would go through the pictures and I saw this picture and I wanted to take it, but I felt it really wasn't ethical to take somebody's picture. So each time I went, I would check and I would see if somebody had picked it up. And finally, several months later, I decided, you know what? It's okay for me to take it. So an unknown person has taken that picture, never claimed it, but I kind of grabbed on it for eternity. A kiss on the beach. That's another small one. This, of course, is Jersey Shore, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. The background is Point Pleasant or Asbury Park or wherever you happen to go, with all the various people there. This is a large piece. This is an 18 by 24. And I love to print this one. I always find people that I haven't seen in a while in it. Okay, next one. These are the children of a very good friend of mine, the grandchildren of a very good friend of mine. They're two bright, darling, adorable sisters. And they're only a year apart, and they work together sort of like a comedy show, in their dialogue and in their movements. And I think I captured it here with the older girl giving the younger girl a good shampoo. I like this one. This is an earlier work that incidentally is owned by the Library of Congress, representing American art. And as you can see, it's another version of the Jersey Shore, of the people frolicking in the waves on top of a lemon meringue pie, a piece of pie. And every time I go into a diner, which I love to do, I order the pie thinking, well, what else can I put on there? But it always comes down to this one. This is the first one, and really, I think the best one. This is another small piece. And my grandchildren, Ruby and Gabriel, banging away on the piano. I don't know if they've improved since then. They were pretty terrible at that point, but they were my grandchildren, and look what a lovely picture they make playing. Satchmo, of course, as anybody can tell, who is one of my favorite musicians, and he's in different poses. I can almost hear him singing "It's a Wonderful World" when I print this one. I think I'd go, oh, the next one, okay. So this one, let's go to, good. This is Cheek to Cheek, which is kind of a memory of when I was a kid and would go to the Park Theater on Bergen Street for 10 cents and $1 tax, of being in love with the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and the movie stars, and trying to go when I had a loose tooth, and you get a box of jujubes, and you would work that jujube until you lost your tooth. Then you'd run up to the ladies' room, bleeding, get some paper towels, and come back with a little bloody mouth to continue to see the performances. So it's they're all sentimental. They're mostly all personal, and remind me of fun times. Next one. This one is, of course, Willie Mays. And I have to tell you that I was at that game. And for some crazy reason, my husband kept the rain checks. So in one that comes after this, Mike, can we go to that one? The ticket here is a reproduction of my original ticket. And so Mike has framed it with the etching, and then he's cut out a little window there to fit the ticket in. So it's another nice piece. This one was done on the Upper West Side in Spanish Harlem on my way up to Boston. So it out of the bus window. And as you can see, in between the two houses is the city garden. And it's a gap, it's a break in the New York architecture of just space and sun and air, and the woman working in there and the little family hurrying by. It's a very, very much of a city scene to me, and a very common one. And this is kind of a memory of my mother playing mahjong. She's not in this one, but she played mahjong with her friends every week, and they had the cut glass candy dish, and in the summer with the hats. It's another sentimental memory. That's also fun. You know, a work of art is really in two parts. One part is the subject, and the other part is the technique. And they each serve each other. I won't talk about the technique now, but because we're just interested in the subject matter, but you need to have the technique to be able to say what you want to say and how you want to say it. And I've worked on both a lot. I like this piece too. I like those ladies.
Helen, if I can,
Go ahead, Mike.
if I can interrupt, part of the reason for me putting this one in here, it may not be exactly the right one, but wasn't your mom playing mahjong when you got accepted to Cooper
yes.
Union?
No, I got a 4-year scholarship and came home from school, and I just burst into the house and said, you know, Mom, guess what? Guess what? She said, don't talk to me now. I'm playing my hand.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
These are two new ones, as you can see. New York at 7, the Chrysler Building, and the other one. I was very impressed with people coming out at 7 o'clock and making noise and banging on pots and letting their presence known and honoring all of the good people who have worked so tirelessly. They're a pair, but yet they're not really a pair. A large poster was made of both of these to help raise money for the immigrants who've kind of been a forgotten group of people. And this is a very new one. As you can see, it's called Suffragettes, with their bluish, purpley blue and yellow colors. My daughter is in there. She's the one side view with the hat, and my granddaughter, Ruby, is just underneath her and over to the right a little bit. And then another friend in the lower left. There are a few people that I know in there, but they're all passionate and wonderful women, and we owe them a great deal. This is a large piece. This is a large, important piece that I spend most of the fall working on. This gives me a lot of pleasure. And the line to the ladies' room, that inevitable line of all ages and all ladies, with the men sitting outside holding coats and packages. And there's a constant murmur of, why don't they put more booths in the women's room, take it away from the men's room? I've never not heard that. But I think things are getting a little bit better. It's kind of a universal statement. It was done quite a while ago, and for some reason, the clothes don't look dated. I'm glad for that. Next one, or maybe that's the last one. I think so.
That was the last one, but we've had a request
Yes.
to really go through and just appreciate them a little bit more by just watching them one at a time. So while I'm doing that, if people want to put some questions in the chat, Helen, in fact, you can even click on the little chat button, see what people have posted in there. I know we had a question early on about what inspired
Okay,
you.
I don't know where to click.
Paintings. Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Mike, maybe you can read
it to me.
the questions.
Right.
And I'm just going to scroll through and let people just kind of absorb these pictures and appreciate them.
Think about this in advance. Okay.
Or Roseanne.
I can do it here. So the questions.
Scroll up to the top, Mike, because there was somebody that had a question early on about the inspiration for one of her pieces.
Yep. Okay.
Or Terry, if you want to unmute yourself, you can just ask the question.
All right. So this from Terry Friedman. She's asking, Helen, I love your work. Could you tell us about the evening that inspired Saturday Night at the Met? Probably a print that she has in her collection.
Yes, that's easy. As you know, on Friday and Saturday nights on the balcony of the Met, they have chamber music and sometimes jazz and serve overpriced drinks and little niblets to eat. I just happened to be there one Friday night and thought it would be a beautiful subject where I included in that etching the people playing, and I believe I have the waiter and I have some of the people enjoying the evening there. That's a very, very happy print. And then I did one that's a mate to it Saturday afternoon at the New York Public Library. And that's where people are sitting outdoors under umbrellas on not the porch, but the front of the building too. They're kind of a pair. Saturday night and Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So if I can do this a little bit old school, rather than share my screen, which would take me forever, maybe you can see that Saturday night at the Met with all the people around, upstairs at the Met. And then this one,
Hold that other
Is-
one up, back up again, Mike. Mike, I'm going to ask you to hold the other one up again because I stopped sharing the screen. So now we can see it full screen if people select speaker view.
all right, so
Yeah. You see,
that one is Saturday evening at the Met.
right.
And the pair to this, Helen rarely does anything in pairs, but these two work very nicely together, is Saturday afternoon. And that's at the New York Public Library. You can see the lions out front of the New York Public Library.
And there's my daughter and the two grandchildren. You better watch out if you're in an artist family or a writer's family.
Okay, what other questions do we have here?
Which Mahjong player is Helen's mom? So I can go to the Mahjong one. And
She's not in that. They're all of her friends. I know those ladies though, and I'm sure we all do.
I'm going to take it back to Match.com for a moment.
Okay.
My question is, did you date any of these people?
No. I was too busy recording them.
I don't know. A few of them look like they might be.
It never occurred to me. I got so interested in the art. One of my favorite one is doesn't have to be Jewish.
Well, I like one that said full figured, but then
Full
somebody else
figured.
wants.
Yes.
So, you know, they've got, and somebody is financially secure. So there you go.
Yeah, and I love to drive, and I have a car, and I'm athletic and toned. I love that one.
Yeah, that's great. I think this is one of my favorite pieces. So okay. I'll pass it along to anybody else who has.
A retired Catholic pharmacist.
I'm going to go back through some where we left off here, where we were kind of scrolling through. And if anybody else has a question, I think you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and just ask the question at this point.
Yeah, I'll try to answer Debbie's question. What medium do you work in? Watercolor. So these are basically ink etchings with an oil-based ink, but then they are hand-colored with watercolor. So no two are identical at all. The coloring can vary quite a bit, but the printing is basically a gray tone, and then the accents of color are watercolor.
Or printer's ink, depending. It varies.
Okay.
Helen, tell us a little bit about your training, how you got started in this field.
Well, I don't ever remember the time that I wasn't an artist. I think I was just born that way. I was always drawing and always painting, always recording, always noticing. And I just took from step to step. I had parents, my mom and dad were enormously sensitive and loving and supportive. And I think that that was it made a huge impact in my life and made all this possible for me, and respected what I wanted to do and did everything they could to help me. So, and then I married a man who also was very supportive. I think to go into the arts, one needs a lot of support.
Absolutely.
It's a tough way to go, but a very rewarding and very wonderful way to go.
What advice would you give for somebody who is young, who has that same passion and talent for art, but is afraid that it might be not attainable to actually make a living at it?
I think they should take the double major in art and plumbing, or to be an electrician or a carpenter or any of these wonderful trades, and make sure that they can support their art. I think that we do have dual careers. It's possible to have a dual career. I did not take that advice, by the way. I must tell you, but I would tell that to a young person now. It's no fun to starve for anything. It's only fun when it's working.
Helen, you
Yes.
also taught art.
Oh, yes, I
You
forgot
did.
about that.
Tell me about how it was for you to see the works that the folks you were teaching did. And I know you taught kids, and I know you helped them learn to love art.
Yes, yes. I taught for many years. I've taught from preschool to seniors, the whole gamut. I think I loved the preschool the most. They were pure and easy and totally not concerned about making an impression or having something look like something. And it was drawing outside the lines. Mike, that reminds me, tell that story of that young boy and his mom. I think that this audience would like to hear that.
We always have a tale from Helen's work, and at some point or the other, the first one I talked about, of course, was St. Petersburg. So we've made 2 books of Helen's tales, and we try to find out, again, from people who buy her work, what they saw in it, and then Helen, we also want the story of what Helen just told, about what inspired her. So we had a client who needed a big size piece, and we had a painting of Washington Square Park, which was with the fountain in Washington Square Park, everybody in the park doing all kinds of things in it. Client really loved it. I took it over to the house, or she took it home and left it there. And I came back, to pick up the artwork and discuss the framing, and her 5-year-old son the night before had said, Mom, can I tell you something? And will you promise not to be mad? And she said, sure, you can tell me anything and I won't be mad. I said, well, I know you really like that painting that you brought home, but I don't think you should get it. And she said, well, why not? And he said, well, it's not very good. She went outside the lines everywhere. She didn't stay in the lines. And so that kind of sold it at that point. She had to take the painting because it's such a cute story. So we've accumulated 2 books of Helen's tales that document this, and there would be volumes more. I'm just one gallery.
So Mike, right behind you is the Ruth Bader Ginsburg picture. When we were going through this yesterday, I'm like, where's Ruth? Because I love this one. Do you want to speak about this one, Helen? And actually, let me see if I can make this so that.
If I talk, then.
There we go. No, I've got it pinned now so that she can talk, but you're still on video, so go ahead.
Well, I've for many years admired her. And when I did a large painting, which Mike sold some years ago, or in the recent past, of the women signing the 100th anniversary of the Women Voting Act. And he did a poster of it also. And I thought that Ruth should have the poster. So my niece or cousin, I don't remember what quite she is to me, was one of the clerks for the Supreme Court justices, and said that she would be seeing her and would be happy to give it to her. As a matter of fact, if you hold on, I'll get the little note that she wrote. So I sent her this poster, and I sent her the a reproduction of the portrait, and I got this wonderful note back. If I leave, will you still be here?
Yes, yes. Move a little the other direction, Mike. Yeah. That way. There we go. Yeah. Oh, wow.
This one is the 19th Amendment. I apologize for the glare and the reflection on it, but it's the governor of Kentucky, I believe,
Yes.
being the last governor to
Yes.
authorize the 19th Amendment, and it had to go state by state. So this print was sent to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I will show you the letter we got back, I should say.
Oh, good.
Wow.
This is the letter Helen got back. And if I can read from it, to Helen Frank, 1,000 thanks for the artwork received today. The 19th Amendment painting will be framed and hung in chambers. The monotype t-shirt, which is the image of RBG that Helen made for the March on Washington in 2017, will be worn regularly when I work out. With appreciation for your artistry and caring, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, on the Supreme Court stationery. So
Wow.
another inspiration to all of us. And you know, she also mentioned having her husband, who had done so much, you know, to support her all along the way. So yeah, it's we're very privileged to have just this little touchstone with someone as remarkable, both as Helen and Ruth Bader.
If you remember her memorial, her funeral and memorial service, her trainer was there, and in tribute to her, wearing a suit and tie, of course, very beautifully dressed, he got down on his knees at her casket and he did a couple of push-ups. So I thought everybody was just in tears with that. It was a very beautiful moment.
Yeah. That's very special.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing with that with all of us. I think the lesson here too is everybody needs to go into Mike's gallery if you haven't already. And we just got a small glimpse of Helen's artwork, and there's so much more of it hanging right behind him on the wall, as you can see. And it's definitely worth a trip into Westwood if you don't live here to go in and see it. I'm guessing most of you who are here in this forum have been to Mike's gallery, because I know many of you are on his email list, and that's how you found out about this. But I notice he updates things in there from time to time, so it's always worth going in and seeing it again. There were some questions about how to purchase different pieces, so I would say get in touch with Michael for that. Best thing to do is to call if there's a specific piece that you wanted. Is that right, Mike? They could just call you directly to ask about that piece.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lisa, before we
Go ahead.
Lisa, before we go, I just wanted to show you a recent commission of a 1-year-old, absolutely darling child. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to run it carefully. Does it look familiar?
I know what this is. I do know what this is. And Oh, that's outstanding.
I'm going to need,
So if I can tell the backstory, I'm constantly shamelessly sending pictures of my grandchildren to Helen saying, hey, you could draw Ruby or you could draw Sophie, but more or less saying these are generic children having a birthday party. And she did a fabulous one of Ruby eating strawberries. And being the grandparent of 2 grandchildren, I said, now I need one of Sophie. And so I've been hounding Helen for 6 months with photo after photo. And she told me she would have it for me by Hanukkah, and it looks like I'm going to get a Hanukkah present. So thank you so much.
Mike. I like the little,
Thank
the little end here. Good.
Oh, kicking the soccer ball.
Kicking
I
the
love her
soccer
kicking
ball.
the soccer ball. That's just outstanding.
so
Mike, I want to thank you. I've known Helen for a long time. I want to thank you, Mike, for bringing Helen's work so beautifully to all of us in the gallery. It's been a real treasure to everyone who loves Helen's work and who loves Helen. Thank you.
He doesn't.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary.
Helen, this is my sister Susan, I'm Jessica, and we first saw your beautiful work in our internist's office, Dr. Rebecca Kurth.
Oh, yes.
So I wanted to know how you are related.
She's my niece.
So, and I have your beautiful little 3 hats here
Hats.
that I
Hats.
just purchased.
Oh, yes.
They do-
Becky is my dear niece. She's wonderful.
She is.
And a
Okay.
good position too.
Oh, yes, very. We don't do anything without checking with Becky.
Uh-huh.
We love your stuff. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So are there any other questions or comments for Helen before we kind of wrap things up here?
Ellen, this is Joanne. I just wanted to say hello to you because
Hi,
I haven't
Joanne.
seen you in so long. One of these days, we're
Yeah.
actually going to get together when
Yes,
things are better because you
Yes.
know how much we love you and how much we miss you. And I also made the comment that you were Samantha's art teacher
Yeah.
long time ago.
right. And Samantha's what now, 30?
No, darling, 41.
Oh, well, she was a kid.
You was a kid at the time, yes.
Good to see you.
I was a
Thanks,
student
Good
of
to
Helen's,
see you.
60. I was a student of Helen's also, an art student of Helen's,
Okay.
and I just turned 60, so she's been at it a long time.
I am putting in a link in the chat. If you click on the chat, you'll see that there's a link for our next Westwood for All Ages Social Connection Happy Hour. And the other thing that I'm putting in is our website, which is westwoodforallages.org. So we will have some updates from there as well.